Money can't buy happiness, but it can remove quite a few of the obstacles. Let's talk about that today. And if you need some help with counseling, maybe something about even starting an action plan, thinking about your own financial goals, I might be able to help you out with that. Stay tuned to the end so we can talk about cognitive behavioral sessions that I'm offering. Let's begin.
This is a beautiful thought.
Welcome, beautiful thinkers. Today, I'd like to talk to you about something very important, something that a lot of people maybe don't see as an aspect of spirituality, but it's definitely a factor when it comes to happiness, and I assure you there is a spiritual element to it. Talking about money. Money doesn't hurt. So a few weeks back, there was this guy on the Paradise Paradox Facebook page, and he sent me a message, and he's like, why don't you admit that you come from a privileged background? Like, he asked me what kind of background I come from, and why don't you be honest with your followers and tell them the reason that you're so happy and enjoy such a good quality of life is because you have money. And he's trying to make it seem as if I've never had any problems because I come from a white middle-class background, I guess. Like, I've never experienced spiritual anguish or something like that. Now, that guy was a bit off the mark, but there's also truth in what he was saying. It's true. Money doesn't hurt. And sometimes if you have a lack of money, that can put you in a disadvantage when it comes to the pursuit of happiness. That is absolutely true. It's a lot easier to be happy when you have money. So money can't buy happiness, but it can remove a lot of the obstacles. Not to say that people can't be happy without money. I know that people can. Like my friend Conscious Kenny made his way without even touching money for a year or more, and got by with the kindness of strangers and other things. So there are definitely ways to do it. So if you don't like money, then you know there are other paths to pursue a monastic lifestyle, and there's a lot of options out there. Not always obvious. You might have to dig a bit, but that's a possibility. For a lot of people, they do want to live in a society and enjoy some of the luxuries that come with that, and have hot running water and hot food and having the choice of nice restaurants and cocktails with friends and having a good time traveling, many other things. For example, I took the trip to Portugal and stayed there for a month, and I was meditating in a cottage in the rural part of Portugal in Cava, near to Castelo Branco. And I wouldn't have been able to do that if life hadn't have been so kind to me in terms of money. So yes, money is a huge factor. So there are two basic steps. From my perspective, I think this is almost a universal formula. 2 steps to wealth. And number 1 is living within your means. And number 2 is increasing your means. And how do you do that? Of course, there's a lot of aspects to that. Well, I won't be able to get into too many of them here. There are a few key books that you can read. For example, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and just about anything written by Robert Kiyosaki is talking about how to increase your means. And 4-Hour Work Week by Timothy Ferriss, which talks about how to automate an online business or how to become location independent, even if you have a sort of day job or office job, how to convince your boss into letting you work from home and then maybe possibly working from China, or any number of other solutions. So that is a very interesting book. I recommend it highly. People can think about ways that they can earn money in an unconventional way. And it's interesting because sometimes, even when I used to mention that title, 4-Hour Workweek, people would scoff and say, oh, that's impossible. It's not impossible. People have done it. Timothy Ferriss did it, and a lot of people followed his example and found out ways to do it as well. So there are ways and means to develop passive income. Another important book is Money, Master the Game by Tony Robbins. And he has another book called Unbreakable, which I'm not yet familiar with, but it comes highly recommended by a lot of people. So that can be on your reading list as well. So Money, Master the Game is talking about those two principles that I mentioned. So he talks about how you can go through your life cutting costs, like those little things like instead of buying bottled water, you install a water filter and get your stainless steel bottle. I mean, things that might be easy for you to do, might be practical for you to do. There's a whole bunch of things you can do in your life to cut costs. And then there's a whole bunch of things you can do to start investing money and increasing your means. So if you don't know things about stocks, bonds, alternative investments like gold and cryptocurrency, options, real estate, cash flow positive real estate, these are things to explore. Because yes, it's true. If I hadn't had that opportunity to go out into Portugal and sit in meditation for 80 or 90 hours that month, then I wouldn't be the happy person that I am today. And among many other opportunities and the depth and breadth of experience, traveling to different countries in the world, traveling to Thailand and spending time in Wat Tam Krabok, and many other beautiful experiences which I've had thanks to my good fortune and good sense when it came to investing, getting into Bitcoin reasonably early and getting involved in crypto, social media like Steemit and other things, and looking for opportunities. And for so many years after reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, I would always be thinking, how can I make money out of this? Is there a way for me to turn circumstances to my advantage financially? And of course, it comes with a lot of caveats, like how can I do that in a way that's moral, ethical, that benefits other people, that brings light into the world? That's the kind of money you want to be making, the kind of money that's blessed, that you don't have to feel guilty about, that you can actually feel good about because you brought something wonderful into the world. It's not always easy to do, but it is possible. And if you apply yourself, there's more opportunities than ever. There's online courses, like I'm going to start, if I haven't already by the time you're hearing this, I'm going to start giving a lot of free cognitive behavioral therapy sessions. And I studied CBT online for $20 on udemy.com. A lot of this knowledge is open to a lot of people starting to learn to program online, make mobile apps and websites and all kinds of things. WordPress, site designer. There's so many things you could do. It's funny because people say that this is a time of a recession or something like that. To me, this seems like the period in history with the most opportunities available ever. Because you can go online, if you can get a smartphone, then you have access to all of this knowledge. And all it takes is steady application, dedication, remembering your purpose, and you can be wealthy. And that, in turn, will allow you to let go of a lot of your problems and will lead you to having a more fulfilling life. Thank you for listening. Thank you for applying yourself to create wealth in a way that introduces light into the world. And thank you for being healthy and prosperous and taking care of the people that you love. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.
A beautiful thought.
In case you're wondering, I recorded this episode back in January when I was still just starting to give cognitive behavioral sessions. If you listen to this episode, though, I mentioned in the episode that I was going to give free cognitive behavioral sessions. If you're interested in that, I'll give the first 10 people who send me an email at kurt@beautifulpodcast.com, I'll give you a free cognitive behavioral session so we can work through exploring your problems or the things that are bothering you, looking at them from different perspectives, asking what the real challenge is, asking what you really want, and collaborating, cooperating to come up with an action plan on how you might begin to achieve that. Thanks for listening. Have a wonderful day.